South by Southwest 2026, we are Aaron and Ange with the Bitch Talk podcast, joined by our honorary bitch, John Wildman, editor-in-chief of Films Gone Wild. And in this segment, we're going to talk about Your Attention Please, which is having its world premiere in the documentary Spotlight. We're sitting down with 3 guests from the film. We're going to have you introduce yourselves and your role. We'll start with our director.
Hi, good morning. I'm Sara Robin. I'm the director and co-producer of Your Attention Please.
I'm Yahna Harris, and I'm the cinematographer of Your Attention Please.
And hi, I'm Trisha Prabhu. I am the subject, one of the subjects of Your Attention Please.
Thank you. We'll start with Sara. Can you please introduce your film to our audience?
Yeah, so Your Attention Please is a documentary about our smartphones, our social media, what has gone wrong, how it's affecting us, and especially our kids, and how we can fix that mess.
Simple.
Easy task, exactly. It's a 2-minute film.
Yeah. There's a lot of themes in this film. It's a lot of different storylines. It's an onion. But I do want to ask, how did you choose the story pathways that you did for this film? And were there ones that kind of rose to the top than others? I mean, how do you balance it?
It was a very, very tricky task, I will say that. It was also a very organic process. I came in with an idea of what it was going to be. And then very quickly as we had, a paper edit, very quickly as we got into the actual edit and just saw the emotional arcs of some stories, it became clear that we had to go back to the drawing board. So very early on it was clear Kristin Bride's story was going to be a core of the film. Then we needed to find stories that can actually match that in power, and that was quite difficult. So we had some early stories that we were considering that ultimately fell by the wayside, and then we found Trisha, we found the Offline Club, Brockton High School, and the Mosaic came together over time.
All right, so mine is because we have 3 very cool people here. So I'll start off first. Trisha, I'm just going to say that when I see someone like yourself that is so freaking accomplished and amazing, I always think, I think I was playing in mud when I was her age. So I just have to say that. And now I'll start the questions. Sara, oftentimes this both balances a lot of information for us, but also a call to action. Mm-hmm. And when you're a director who's done a film that is kind of like a call to action like this, sometimes you become the default expert. And and as you make your film festival tour, you may or may not have Trisha with you, and so then people are going to think everything. And and I always love to ask the the filmmakers in this case, like, are you ready for this? Are you okay with that? Because that's what's going to happen.
Especially being here at South by, I do ask myself that every day. It's a really great question. I'm always really honest about what I know and what I don't know. And some of these things I've had personal experiences with, so I like to focus on that. I like talking about how my phone impacted my own attention to the point where I couldn't read anymore. And I'm like one of the craziest bookworms you can meet. And the fact that I lost my ability to read was really shocking to me, and that's what spurred me into action. So I focus on these things. I have amassed quite a wealth of knowledge, but I'm also very honest when it comes to things I don't know, right? I'm not a parent, so when people ask me about parenting advice, I always say, look, I'm not a parent. What I'm telling you is from experts and other parents I've talked to. Take it with a grain of salt, adjust it to your own life. I don't know everything. So I think it's really important to keep it real in that way.
And then Yahna, I always feel for a cinematographer when they're doing a film like this, because you're going, I've got a lot of talking heads, I got people just walking and talking, and we're so past the West Wing that we're done with that, and I need to make this look interesting because we've got this great information and we don't want it to be lost. So talk about how the 2 of you work together to make sure that you were shooting in a dynamic way to help put this information in the right place.
I mean, it was kind of really hard to not be dynamic on this film, just because we had so many storylines. We traveled to many, many different places, including Amsterdam and South America. And so, I think whenever the subjects are just really engaging, I feel like you're just kind of glued into them. And we would be filming the interviews, and I feel like I was just taking in so much because I didn't realize how massive this issue was and how far-reaching it was. And so it really was engaging the entire time. And I think one of our practices is that we like to always be present and take away those distractions and just lean into that humanity with other people, you know.
Mm. Okay, first I have just two statements I want to get out before my question. Sarah, I'm never going to forgive you for making me agree with Josh Hawley.
Yes.
So I was just like, why do I agree with him right now?
Yes.
I had a lot of processing to do. And Trisha, I'm glad you're pursuing your law degree because you're simply not doing enough with your life. So I just wanted to put that out there. But I love how you touch on the importance of boredom and us losing our sense of creativity because of these screens. So I just wanted to go down the line and talk about what do the three of you do when you're not staring at a screen that sort of engages you in reality, that is sort of a savior, a balance.
Oh man, what do I not do? I am someone who like collects hobbies just like, you know, on the daily, and I never have enough time for them. I just picked up pottery, which I know is every white girl's favorite thing right now, so I'm very conscious of that.
Thank you for saying.
But okay, here's the thing though. You know, when you're centering that clay also centers you, and there's really I know that sounds a bit but there's really something to that. And when I come to it on days where I'm like all over the place, that thing just won't fucking center. Excuse my language.
No,
it just won't.
Yeah.
You know, like it just won't work, and I have to be like, all right, I have to actually fully arrive here. So it keeps me very honest, and I really love that about it. I also rock climb. That's always helped me to just, you know, everything else just melts away, because when you're on the wall and you're about to fall down, like you're just really present naturally. So that's been a good one, and one that we have in common is we do really love to dance. So.
Yes.
Yes. This one's a dancer too. What styles?
Okay.
There's all
All of them.
fun. Okay, maybe we'll see you tonight at some of the parties out there.
Yeah. Come join. Oh, okay, my turn. I recently taking up printmaking, and so it's just like a really beautiful process to be able to work with your hands, because I feel like so many times we're in front of a screen, and so to be able to like carve away a piece and then work with ink and then other materials. I just feel like it has this meditative process to it, and I can be away from the distractions of this like digital age for long periods of time. So yeah, that's what I take.
I think in my case, you know, just all of my spare time, just swimming in it. There's so much free time. No, I mean, one of my favorite things to do is to run. I'm a runner. So for me, and it is very meditative, actually, I think, to run. So it's an opportunity, you're just focused on the next step. You're not thinking about anything else. And that I really, really love. I am also kind of like, I do love meditation. Sarah knows this about me. We captured some of these scenes. It didn't make it to the documentary. We captured some of these scenes during the filming process. I love meditation, and I'm a huge believer in the idea that it can be like as unstructured as you want it to be. It doesn't have to be you open with an app doing breathing. Like sometimes I will just, if I really want the sense of like boredom and just being like, I will just like walk around and just look at different people and just practice gratitude for like, oh look, like it just like little statements in my head. Like I'm so grateful that like there's this family that's enjoying this meal. I'm just so grateful for how beautiful the sun looks in the sky right now. Like just like little, and it's like I'm not really engaging with anything, you know, I'm just like letting myself be in that moment, but practicing like a little bit of gratitude for what I see. And I find that that's just really meditative and restorative, and a good way to like remind ourselves of how much we have. When we're looking at our phones, often the thought process is, oh, I don't have this. I don't look like this person. I don't have this creator's lifestyle. I don't have. So just to be able to center myself in what we do have, independent of a digital world that's always encouraging us to engage in comparison, is really nice.
I guess this kind of goes with my question, and just to be honest, Ange and I, Jeff, we all live in San Francisco, separately of course, but sorry, anyways, no tangents, but I, on a daily basis, feel assaulted by technology. It is everywhere where we live, billboards, everything, but I just want to know, and I'll start with Trisha, like how do we slow the tide of technology assaulting us on the daily?
Yeah. I love the question, and actually, I was recently in San Francisco for work, and yeah,
How was it?
It was great.
Yes,
everywhere
it's
you,
a beautiful city.
It's so beautiful, but everywhere you go, it's like AI, some
Yeah.
more AI.
Do
Just
you
in case you weren't sure.
Yeah, do you understand
I don't
that?
understand the billboards. Like, what are you selling?
I
can't even tell.
I'm not really sure. They're like, find your flow with AI. I'm like, okay. You say so.
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
What are we talking about?
Such a cryptic.
It
yeah.
is. It
Yeah.
is. I mean, I would say, I think, honestly, and I feel like the film captures this with the Offline Club, but I feel like one of the most powerful ways we can do it is by creating in our own lives and then step by step in our communities and in society a new culture of hanging out with each other that is not about technology. Because I think one of the hardest things is like, you know, if you say you're going to be phone free, it's not as fun. I mean, it's nice to spend time with yourselves, but it's not as fun because it's just like you, and you feel like there's like a sense of FOMO. All of your friends are still on their devices. And so to the extent that like we can get together with each other, right, and put our phones away together and spend time together, I think not only do we kind of stop this assault of tech at every single part of our lives, but we also, you know, actually affirmatively engage in what tech has taken away from us, right, which is this chance to be together. To, you know, see expressions on each other's faces, to, you know, have conversations that are really deep and meaningful and are not confined to, what is it, 140 characters, or is it longer now? I don't even know. I'm not on X anymore, but yeah. But I think that is really, that culture change is, and it just starts with like one friend, right? One friend group, one community. And I think what it creates, the ripple effect, is just really powerful.
I think for me, I'm still wrapping my head around what you just said.
It's always fun having to say something after Trisha.
I know. I'm sorry.
You know, I always like to set an intention before I pick up anything related to tech, because before I pick up my phone, I always ask myself, why am I reaching for my phone? Because it's such a mindless act these days, and I realize how much it's used as like a soothing mechanism. And so if I can name exactly what I'm reaching for, then I can actually reach out for the thing that I'm actually wanting and not fill it with a phone. So yeah, I'm like, if I want connection, then I'm like, is this phone gonna give me connection, or can I just reach out to my friend or go talk to my family, or and I feel like that sort of guiding principle has really helped me take a step back whenever it comes to using technology as like a means for everything.
I think we need to fall in love with doing hard things again. And putting ourselves out there. And I'm quite an introvert, so I'm definitely one of the first people to be like, oh, I don't know if I want to go out right now and see a bunch of people, and it might just be nice to sit here on my couch and like scroll a bit and read a bit, and you know. And I think it's so easy right now to make that choice, but in the end it leaves us more depleted. It leaves us with less interesting lives. It leaves us with a bit more of a flat, colorless experience, I think, as we go through our day to day. And I've really challenged myself to get better at, you know, choose a difficult thing in the moment. Like, choose the thing that right now feels like it's maybe too much of a commitment, because in the end you'll feel so much better. And once you like get into the habit of that, then it becomes like almost muscle memory. Like it gets so much easier. So it's something I especially encourage young people to do, because I think they're so overwhelmed by everything going on in the digital world and under such pressure that it's a lot to ask. And I want to, you know, acknowledge it is a lot to ask. But you do feel better at the end, so it's really nice that you get, you know, when you make these better, cultivate these better habits with technology, you get positive feedback pretty quickly, and it becomes easier. So that would be my thing. Like, let's do hard things again.
And I think too that also inspires like the creativity. That's whenever it begins to blossom again.
Yeah.
I think I get to ask one more question. This is awesome. And I want to bring it back to filmmaking, and Sarah. And because when you have a film like this, and there's so many moving parts, and oftentimes your audience is like a technological grandpa like myself. It's going, what? Huh? I don't, right? And so and so as a filmmaker, sometimes you're in the editing bay going, did I make that point well enough? Or did we underline it? Did we bold it? Did we have neon arrows pointing to it? Did we do that enough? And and so then you're using animation then to illustrate and stuff. Talk about as you were in that phase of the filmmaking and working, like something that you found challenging and then overcame to go, okay, I think now we put this in a context where people will really get this thing that likely this one over here told us that we should understand.
Yeah, that's a great question, and it was absolutely a challenge we faced so many times. And one thing that was always important to us is we don't want to fall into the trap to shock audiences into caring. It was really important that even survivor parents can go watch this film and not be re-traumatized, that Kristin Bride can watch this film and not be re-traumatized, right? And there are some other films out there, unfortunately, that have not made that choice, and that have some real consequences for people. So we're very mindful of that, and we're like, how do we emotionally invite people in a way that feels, I want to say safe, but welcoming, where you can actually let your guard down a bit. And the animation ended up being such a huge part of that, and the way we chose to tell Carson's story. For those, the listeners who don't know, Carson Bride took his own life tragically in 2020 after he was cyberbullied. So we were faced with this really dark, really traumatic experience that we were trying to relay. And what we decided ultimately was it was more important to show what that experience feels like rather than really focusing on what the bully said or, those details. That didn't matter so much. It was more like, what does that feel like? So we can empathize and we understand a bit more how cyberbullying is different from regular bullying, right? It's 24/7. It comes, you can see in the scene, it follows you to your bedroom, it doesn't stop. It gets you in these moments where you're really vulnerable. So we wanted to show that, and I think the animation oftentimes actually became a really great tool to show something that otherwise would be really difficult to bring down to that emotional place where we can access it and we can empathize with it.
Thank you for the conversation. We have to wrap soon, but we do end all of our segments with something we call This Bitch. So this is your moment to either shine a light on something or someone that's bringing you joy, or you can throw shade on someone or something that's pissing you off. So I'll let you decide who wants to start and let us know who your This Bitch of the moment is.
Oh my gosh.
If you need a minute to.
I just have to say, for me, this bitch is absolutely Kristin Bride. She is such a hero. She took, the worst experience you can possibly have, losing a child, and turned that into a powerful rallying call, not for herself, but for other families out there. She always says, I'm doing this work so that no other family has to go through what I'm going through. And I just admire her so much for that.
And I would say, this bitch is you. Just your passion from the beginning, and how you gathered everyone for this project and the way you've told the story and put the mosaic together and how you're just leading the charge, I think is absolutely inspiring, and you've always been inspiring and amazing, beautiful collaborator. So yeah, congrats.
Well, you both took mine. I was like, okay. But honestly, I would say this bitch is, I work with these amazing young people at my nonprofit who are themselves trying to build solutions to make the internet better. And I would say, as you said, Sarah, it's so hard to be optimistic right now, but as a young person about the internet. So I'm just so proud of their bravery in choosing, and this system that seems like it is designed to push them down, push their ideas down, to force them to conform to our digital status quo, for them taking a stand and saying, no, we deserve better than this, we're gonna build better than this. So shout out to them, y'all are awesome.
Well, thank you so much. It's always such a pleasure to sit across from three very powerful individuals. Again, we've been speaking to director Sara Robin, subject Trisha Prabhu, and cinematographer Yahna Harris of the documentary Your Attention Please. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You stay put, we're just going to
Can we take
behind you.